Let me tell you something that happened in my clinic not too long ago, and I promise you, it's going to change the way you think about your health for the rest of your life. The phone rang one Tuesday morning around 7. I was just getting my first cup of coffee, sitting at my desk, going over patient files. I picked up, and on the other end was a voice I recognized right away. It was Walter, a gentleman from right here in Charleston who'd been coming to see me for close to 8 years. Walter is 65 years old, a retired high school shop teacher, a granddad 3 times over, and one of the kindest men you'll ever meet. But that morning his voice was shaking. He could barely get the words out. He whispered into the phone almost like he didn't want his wife to hear. "Doc, I held on for hours last night. I felt like I did when I was 35 years old. I don't know what happened, but whatever you told me to try, it worked. It actually worked. Now I've been practicing medicine for over 30 years. I've seen a lot of things in my career. I've delivered bad news to families. I've celebrated recoveries that looked impossible. And I've watched men in their 70s and 80s walk into my office feeling like they'd been written off by the world. But when Walter called me that morning, I sat back in my chair and I smiled because I knew exactly what he'd done. He'd followed a simple little routine I'd been teaching my patients for years, and in just 7 days, it had given him back something he thought he'd lost forever. So today I want to share this with all of you, because if it worked for Walter, and it's worked for hundreds of other men I've treated over the years, it can work for you too. And the best part? It doesn't involve any pills, any prescriptions, any expensive procedures, or any trips to some specialist who's going to charge you an arm and a leg. It's something you can put together in your own kitchen in about 5 minutes flat. Now, before I get into the recipe, let me explain why this works, because I want you to understand what's actually happening inside your body. And stick with me here, because this is the part most folks don't get told by their doctors. When a man gets into his 50s, 60s, or 70s, the number one thing that starts to slow down isn't his muscles, it isn't his energy, and it isn't even his testosterone. It's his circulation. Your blood vessels over the years start to get a little stiff. They lose some of that flexibility they had when you were younger. And when blood can't flow the way it used to, everything starts to suffer. Your hands and feet get cold, your energy drops, you feel sluggish in the afternoon. And yes, your performance in the bedroom takes a hit too, because that part of the body needs strong, consistent blood flow more than almost anywhere else. I've seen men in their 70s and 80s come back to life, literally get their spark back once we restored their circulation. I'm talking about guys who hadn't felt like themselves in 15, 20 years. Their wives would call me up in tears thanking me because they'd gotten their husbands back. Not just physically, but emotionally too. Because when a man loses that part of himself, he doesn't just lose intimacy, he loses confidence. He loses his sense of being a man. And that bleeds into every other area of his life. So what's the secret? What did I tell Walter to do? I told him to start his mornings with something I call my morning circulation mix. 4 simple ingredients. You probably have at least 2 of them in your kitchen right now. Ingredient number 1 is fresh ginger root. Not the powder, not the capsules, the real deal. Fresh ginger is one of the most powerful natural circulation boosters on the planet. It's been used in traditional medicine for thousands of years, and modern science has finally caught up and confirmed what grandmothers in every culture already knew. Ginger helps warm the body from the inside out, opens up the blood vessels, and gets things moving. For a man over 50, that's exactly what the doctor ordered. Ingredient number 2 is fresh lemon juice. Now you might be thinking, lemon? What's that got to do with anything? Well, lemon is packed with vitamin C, which plays a huge role in keeping your blood vessel walls strong and flexible. Think of your arteries like garden hoses. Over the years, they can get brittle and crack. Vitamin C is the stuff that keeps them supple and working right. And when you combine it with ginger, you get a 1-2 punch that's hard to beat. Ingredient number 3 is raw honey. Local honey, if you can get it, because honey from your own region actually contains trace compounds that help your body adapt to the environment you live in. Honey is more than just a sweetener. It's loaded with antioxidants, and it helps the body absorb all the other ingredients better. It also makes the whole mix taste good, which matters, because if something tastes terrible, you're not going to stick with it. Trust me on that. And ingredient number 4, the one most people leave out, and then wonder why they're not getting results, is raisins. Good old-fashioned raisins. You need to soak them in water overnight, which softens them up and helps release the natural sugars and minerals. Raisins are packed with potassium, iron, and natural compounds that support heart health and blood production. And when they're soaked overnight, they become almost like little sponges full of goodness that your body can absorb quickly. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, Doc, that's it? That's the big secret? Ginger and lemon and honey and raisins? And I understand the skepticism. I really do. When I first started recommending this to patients back in the early 90s, I had grown men laugh in my face. They'd say, "Come on, Doc, you're going to tell me some kitchen mix is going to do what Viagra can't?" And I'd say, "I'm not telling you it's going to replace your medication. I'm telling you it's going to do something your medication never could, which is actually fix the root cause." Because here's the thing, everyone. Pills can force blood flow for a few hours, but they don't heal anything. They don't make your blood vessels healthier. They don't improve your circulation long term. In fact, a lot of them come with side effects that make things worse over time. What I'm talking about is a daily practice that actually rebuilds you from the inside. It's slower, sure, but it lasts, and it doesn't cost you $40 a pill. Now let me walk you through exactly how to make this mix, because the way you prepare it matters. This isn't something you just throw in a blender and chug down. There's a method to it, and the method is what makes the magic happen. The night before, take about 10 to 15 raisins, good quality ones, and put them in a small glass with just enough room temperature water to cover them. Let them sit overnight on your kitchen counter. That's step one, and it's the step most people skip, and then they wonder why it doesn't work as well as they hoped. In the morning, when you get up, before you have your coffee, before you eat anything, before you do anything else, head to the kitchen. Take a piece of fresh ginger root, peel a small section, and grate about 2 tablespoons worth. You want it fine, almost like a pulp. Put that in a small bowl. Next, take half a lemon and squeeze the juice right over the grated ginger. Make sure no seeds get in there. Then add 1 teaspoon of raw honey, just 1. You don't need more. More doesn't make it better, it just makes it sweeter. Stir all that together and let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. This is important. The ginger needs time to release its active compounds into the lemon juice and honey. If you skip this step, you're losing half the benefit. Go take a shower, get dressed, read the paper, whatever. Just let that mix sit and do its thing. After 15 minutes, grab those raisins you soaked overnight, drain the water off them, and stir them into your mix. If the whole thing feels too thick, you can add a splash of warm water, just enough to make it easier to take. Now, take 1 teaspoon of the mixture, just 1, and eat it slowly. Don't gulp it down. Let it sit in your mouth for a second. Let your body start processing it from the very first moment. Then you can follow it up with a glass of warm water if you want. And that's it. That's the whole routine. Takes you 5 minutes in the morning, maybe 7 if you're moving slow like I am before my coffee. Do that every single day for 7 days, and I'm telling you, you're going to notice a difference. Most men start feeling it around day 3 or 4. They notice their hands aren't as cold. They feel warmer in the chest. They have more energy in the afternoon. And for a lot of them, by day 7, they're calling me up like Walter did, telling me things they never thought they'd say again. Now I want to address some questions I get all the time, because I know some of you are thinking them right now. First question, can you drink this as a tea? Can you pour hot water over it and sip it like a tea in the morning? The answer is yes, you can, and some of my patients prefer it that way, especially in the winter. Just know that if you heat it up too much, you're going to kill some of the enzymes in the honey and reduce the effect a little bit. So use warm water, not boiling water, and you'll be fine. Second question, how do you store the mix? My recommendation is don't store it. Make it fresh every morning. It only takes 5 minutes and fresh is always better. But if you absolutely have to, you can keep it in a sealed glass jar in the fridge for 2, maybe 3 days. After that, toss it. Third question, what if you miss an ingredient? What if you ran out of raisins or you don't have honey that morning? Look, I'd rather you do the mix with 3 ingredients than skip it entirely. But ideally, you want all 4 working together because each one plays a role. The ginger opens things up, the lemon strengthens the vessels, the honey helps absorption, and the raisins give you the mineral foundation. Miss one and you're missing a piece of the puzzle. And fourth question, can you take this if you're on blood pressure medication or other prescriptions? This one, I have to be straight with you. Talk to your own doctor first. Ginger can interact with blood thinners, and if you're on medication, you need to make sure everything plays nice together. Most of the time, it's totally fine, but I'm not your personal physician, so have that conversation with whoever is. Now, here's the part I really want you to hear, because this is where most men mess up. This mix is not a magic bullet. It's part of a lifestyle. If you do this every morning, but then you sit on the couch all day eating potato chips and drinking soda, you're not going to get the results you want. Your body doesn't work in a vacuum. You got to give it some support. So let me give you a couple of other things to pair with this mix. And these cost you nothing. Number 1, walk every single day. I don't care if it's just around the block. 20 minutes of walking a day does more for your circulation than any supplement on the market. When you walk, you activate something called nitric oxide in your blood vessels, and that's the stuff that keeps them open and flexible. It's your body's own natural blood flow enhancer, and it's free. Number 2, do some squats. I know you're rolling your eyes, but hear me out. 20 squats every morning, broken into 3 sets of about 6 or 7, is one of the best things a man over 50 can do for his lower body circulation. And you don't need to squat like a power lifter. Just pretend you're sitting down in a chair and standing back up. Slow and controlled. That's it. Do that for a week on top of the morning mix and you're going to feel like a new man. Number 3, drink more water. I mean it. Most men over 50 are walking around dehydrated and they don't even know it. Dehydration thickens your blood and makes circulation harder. Aim for about 8 glasses a day, more if it's hot out or you're active. And number 4, get your sleep, 7 to 8 hours a night. I know some of you are thinking, Doc, I haven't slept 8 hours in 20 years. I hear you, but sleep is when your body repairs itself. If you're not sleeping, all the ginger and lemon and honey in the world isn't going to save you. Let me come back to Walter for a minute, because I want you to understand why I'm telling you this story. Walter didn't come to me looking for a miracle. He came to me because his wife, God bless her, had finally put her foot down and said, "You got to do something." He was embarrassed, he was frustrated. He felt like less of a man and he was pulling away from her emotionally because he didn't know how to face what was happening. And here's what broke my heart. He told me that for the past 2 years he'd been avoiding intimacy entirely. Not because he didn't love his wife, but because he was afraid of failing, afraid of disappointing her, afraid of feeling like he'd lost a part of himself. And some of you listening right now, I know you're in that same place. You're avoiding your partner. You're making excuses. You're staying up late, so she's asleep by the time you come to bed. You're pretending you're tired, pretending you're stressed, pretending it's something else. But deep down, you know what it is. And I want you to know, you're not alone. You're not broken, and you're not done. There are men in their 80s, I've treated them myself, who got this part of their life back, and if they can, you can. When Walter came in for his follow-up 2 weeks after that phone call, he looked 10 years younger. He was standing up straighter. His eyes had life in them again. His wife came with him, and she squeezed my hand and didn't say a word, but she didn't have to. I could see it all in her face. That's what this is really about, folks. It's not just about the physical side of things. It's about feeling like yourself again. It's about looking your wife in the eye without shame. It's about picking up your grandkids without feeling like your body's giving out on you. It's about waking up in the morning and feeling like life is still worth showing up for. You are not too old. You are not too far gone. Your body has an incredible ability to heal itself when you give it the right tools. And the tools you need are not in some fancy pharmacy. They're in your kitchen, in your legs, in your lungs, and in your willingness to take care of yourself like you matter. Because you do. So here's what I want you to do. Tonight, before you go to bed, put those raisins in a little glass of water. Set it on the counter where you'll see it in the morning. Tomorrow, when you get up, make the mix. Take your teaspoon, go for a walk, do your squats, drink your water, get to bed at a decent hour. Do that for 7 days, just 7 days. And then come back and tell me how you feel. I've had men email me, write me letters, leave voicemails on my office phone, telling me this simple routine gave them their life back. Men who thought they'd never feel alive again. Men whose marriages were hanging by a thread. Men who'd given up. And if it worked for them and it worked for Walter, it can work for you. You're not mixing up some random ingredients here. You're rebuilding your strength, your spirit, and your sense of who you are. You're telling your body and you're telling yourself that you're not done yet, that there's still life in you, that you still matter. And I believe that with every bone in my body, because I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. more times than I can count, over more than 30 years of doing this work. So go on, try it. Give yourself 7 days. And I think you're going to be surprised, just like Walter was, just like his wife was, and just like so many others have been. Take care of yourselves, everyone. You're worth it. And I'll see you in the next one.